Hey, everybody, and welcome back. We're taking a deep dive today into The Road Less Traveled. You know that book by M. Scott Peck,
Mm.
MD?
Oh, yeah.
It's
A classic.
a psychology book that really became like this surprise bestseller.
Huge. Yeah.
It's resonated with readers for like over 25 years, and I think it's because it's just so honest and insightful.
I agree.
So we're going to try to distill some of the key takeaways, like his thoughts on love, discipline, and spiritual growth.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a big task.
Yeah, it is a tall order for sure.
He covers so much.
Yeah.
But we can definitely hit some of the highlights, the thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah, I
Think so.
So I think
Yeah.
one of the best places to start is like right at the beginning.
Okay.
The book opens with this line. It's like, life is difficult.
Yeah, not exactly a light read.
No.
But then he goes on to say that avoiding problems just makes it harder.
Right. So how do we deal with that then?
He introduces this concept of discipline as the key.
Okay.
But he's not talking about, being strict or hard on yourself.
Right.
He breaks it down into 4 tools: delaying gratification, accepting responsibility,
Okay.
dedication to reality,
Hmm.
and balancing.
Okay. I'm already interested.
Yeah.
Let's unpack those.
Absolutely.
So delaying gratification, I think we all struggle with that
Yeah,
one.
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. He actually uses this example of a successful financial analyst.
Okay.
She was great at her job,
Okay.
but she really struggled with procrastination in her personal life.
So it's not just about being lazy then.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Through working with her, he realized she had a hard time delaying gratification
Okay.
because of some deeper emotional issues,
Mm-hmm.
probably from her childhood.
Okay.
So he had her try dedicating just 1 hour a day
Okay.
to her least favorite task
Okay.
and then rewarding herself afterward.
Oh, so like a little boot camp
Yeah.
for willpower?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But what's the connection with her childhood then?
So Peck talks about this concept called the sins of the father,
Okay.
where basically he argues that parents' own struggles with discipline can directly impact their kids.
Okay.
If kids see their parents avoiding responsibility or giving in to every impulse,
Yeah.
they're less likely to learn those tools themselves.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Yeah.
I can kind of see some of those patterns in my own life,
Yeah.
But how do you break those cycles then?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Recognizing those patterns
Yeah.
is the first step.
Right.
And then it's about consciously choosing to do things differently.
Okay.
He believed that we all have the capacity to change,
Yeah.
even if those patterns are really ingrained.
That's good. That's encouraging. But I'm guessing it's not easy.
No, it's definitely a process.
Yeah. What about love? What does Peck have to say about love?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's another big one in the book, right?
Yeah. It is. It's huge. And he completely challenges this idea of falling in love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he calls it more of a temporary ego boundary collapse than actual love.
Okay, so not the fairy tale romance we see in the movies.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what is real love then?
He defines it as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth.
Okay, hold on. Let me get that down.
It's a mouthful.
The will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth.
Yes.
Okay, so it's about action then, more than feeling.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
It's about making a conscious choice to support another person's growth.
Okay.
You're not just swept away by feeling.
Okay, so you're not just like...
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, it's more about being intentional and committed.
Okay.
And that doesn't take the romance away.
Yeah.
It's more about understanding that real love takes work.
Right.
And effort and commitment.
So how do you know if you're really loving someone in this way or if it's like a different kind of attachment?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, he used the example of pets, right?
He does, yeah.
Like, we love our pets.
We do.
But is that the same as like love between two people?
It's a good point, and he points out that while we may truly care for our pets,
Right.
we're not necessarily focused on their spiritual growth.
Yeah.
In the same way that we would be with another person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's about recognizing that distinction between attachment and love dedicated to mutual evolution.
So it's like a lot of what we call love might actually be something else entirely.
Yeah, it's possible.
So how does that change how we look at relationships then?
Well, it definitely raises the bar, I think.
Yeah.
It asks us to be more intentional,
Okay.
more mindful of our motivations,
Yeah.
If we're going into a relationship just looking to fulfill our own needs,
Yeah.
are we really ready to love?
Right.
Or are we seeking something else entirely?
Wow. Yeah, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
Yeah, a lot to think about there.
A lot to unpack there for sure.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
It's almost like we have to redefine what a successful relationship is.
Right.
Instead of expecting, the fireworks all the time. Maybe it's about like
Exactly.
that steady, nurturing growth you can have together.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And to do that, we have to be willing to do the work to confront our own patterns and limitations, our baggage.
Right.
And this kind of brings us to this idea of giving up that Peck talks about a lot.
You mean like sacrificing your own desires for the sake of the relationship?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
He uses this great anecdote about playing chess with his stepdaughter.
Okay.
He was about to win,
Uh-huh.
but she got frustrated and just knocked the whole board over.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A
COVID.
few chessboard incidents with my kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And so his initial reaction was anger. But then he realized that by giving up his desire to win,
Okay.
he could actually teach her a valuable lesson about, dealing with disappointment.
So it's not about letting her win,
No, not at all.
but more about letting go of his own ego
Exactly.
for her benefit.
Yeah.
Like,
And, this actually ties into this idea that he has about depression
okay.
actually being a sign of spiritual growth.
Oh, really?
He sees it as a natural part of this giving up process,
Okay.
where we're letting go of something that's not serving us anymore.
So instead of looking at depression as like a weakness,
Yeah.
you can look at it as a chance for transformation.
Exactly. It's like a shedding of the old self
Yeah. Okay.
to make way for the new.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is, but it requires honesty,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Real honesty with yourself
Yeah.
about those maybe uncomfortable truths about what you need to let go of.
I guess that's where that dedication to reality
Right.
tool comes in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like Peck talks about how important it is to have like an accurate view of yourself in the world.
Yes. He says we all create these mental maps of reality
Right.
based on our experiences,
Yeah.
but those maps can get outdated. So we
Right.
need to constantly be updating them
Nice.
to reflect the truth of our current situation.
So how do you know if your map is outdated?
That's a good question.
What are some signs,
Well, I think one way is to pay attention to patterns in your relationships.
Okay.
He uses this psychology term transference
Okay.
to describe how we often project our past experiences, especially from childhood,
Okay.
onto our current relationships.
Okay, so like if you had a parent who was always critical,
Yeah,
you might find yourself with partners who are also critical,
exactly.
even though it's hurting you.
Even though it causes pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're trying to recreate those familiar dynamics,
Yeah.
even if they're unhealthy.
So how do you break free from that?
Well, awareness is the first step, Once you see it,
Right.
you can start to challenge it.
Yeah.
Peck really believed that therapy can be helpful here
All right.
because it gives you a safe space to
Right.
explore those deep-seated beliefs and behaviors.
It makes you wonder how many relationship problems are really just coming from
Oh, tons.
these unconscious patterns we're bringing in.
Yeah, I think more than we realize.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of self-awareness,
Yeah.
in relationships.
Right.
If we're not aware of our own baggage, we're
Right.
just going to keep
Yeah.
repeating the same cycles.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we've covered delaying gratification, accepting responsibility,
Yeah.
dedication to reality.
Right.
What about balancing?
Yes.
The fourth tool of discipline.
He uses this really vivid analogy to explain balancing,
Oh, yeah.
riding a bicycle.
Oh, okay.
He says, just like you need to constantly adjust your weight and make these little corrections to stay upright on a bike,
Yeah.
you need to find that balance in life too.
So it's about being adaptable.
Yes. Being willing to let go of one thing to embrace something new.
Okay.
And this ties back into this idea of renunciation and rebirth we talked about.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes to achieve a greater sense of balance, we need to make sacrifices.
Oh. Yeah.
We need to let go of something that's no longer serving us
Right.
to make room for something new.
That's a tough one.
It is. It's a tough one.
Especially in a culture that's all about getting more and achieving more.
Exactly. More, more, more.
Yeah.
But Peck argues that true fulfillment comes not from accumulating,
Okay.
but from letting go.
Go.
It's about recognizing that sometimes the most loving act is to release our grip
Okay.
and let things unfold as they may.
It reminds me of that quote. What is it? Sometimes you have to let go to see if there's anything worth holding on to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to step into the unknown,
Right.
trusting that something better might be waiting on the other side.
And that takes a lot of faith, doesn't it?
It does.
Faith in yourself, faith in the process,
Yeah.
maybe even faith in something bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. And that's where the spiritual growth piece really comes in.
So he's not just talking about personal growth,
Right.
but spiritual growth too.
Yes. He actually sees mental health and spiritual growth as interconnected.
Okay. But what does he mean by spiritual growth then?
Right. And does he get into religion?
Yeah.
He touches on religion, but in a very open-minded and inclusive way.
Right.
He talks about how, like, the process of therapy,
Yeah.
of self-discovery,
Yeah.
can actually be a spiritual journey in itself.
Okay.
It's about connecting with something larger than yourself,
Okay.
whether you call that God, the universe, or just a sense of interconnectedness.
Right. So it's about finding your own path,
Exactly.
whatever that looks like.
Yeah, he doesn't say you have to believe this or that.
Yeah.
He encourages you to be open to the mystery of life,
Yeah.
to the possibility that there's more to our existence than
Yeah.
what we can see and touch.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It takes the pressure off of having to have all the answers.
It does.
Yeah.
It allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder.
I love that. Yeah.
Me too.
Instead of striving for perfection, you can
Yeah.
just be open to learning and growing.
Exactly. And that openness
Yeah.
is what allows us to experience those moments of grace that Peck talks about.
What are those?
He describes grace as like this unexplainable force
Okay.
that enters our lives and brings about profound transformation.
So like those times when everything just clicks into place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't plan it.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
He sees grace as like evidence of a higher power at work.
Okay.
Something beyond our understanding that's guiding us towards wholeness.
But if you can't control it,
Right.
how do you invite it into your life?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Peck says it's about cultivating an attitude of receptivity,
Okay.
being open to the possibility
Yeah.
of something greater than ourselves working in our lives,
Right. Yeah.
surrendering to the flow of life,
Yeah.
trusting that we're being guided even when we can't see the path ahead.
It sounds like a lot of what he's talking about requires you to step outside of your comfort zone,
It does.
you know,
Yeah,
like challenge your assumptions about the world.
absolutely. He's inviting us to go on a journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
to explore those deep questions about who we are, what our purpose is in this life.
Yeah.
And that journey, while often challenging, can ultimately lead to a profound sense of meaning and fulfillment.
So what would you say is like the most important takeaway
Ah, that's tough. There's so many.
from everything we've talked about in The Road Less Traveled?
I think it's the reminder that life is a journey,
Okay.
not a destination.
Okay.
You know, it's about embracing the challenges, confronting our fears,
Yeah.
and continually striving to become the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that journey, while often difficult, is ultimately one of profound meaning and purpose.
And it's a journey that we don't have to do alone.
That's true.
You know, his work reminds us that we're all connected,
Yeah,
that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
absolutely.
And that connection, you know, that sense of belonging
Right.
is essential for individual and collective healing.
He leaves us with a question, too.
Okay.
It builds on what we talked about with love and the divine.
Okay.
You know, can embracing the unknown aspects of love lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe?
That's a big one.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
It's something to think about,
Yeah, yeah.
to explore on your own.
It doesn't have like a right or wrong answer,
No,
but it makes you think.
it does. It invites us to keep exploring and questioning,
Yeah.
keep seeking those deeper truths.
That's what his work is all about,
Yeah.
encouraging us to go on that journey
Lifelong journey.
of spiritual growth and self-discovery.
Exactly.
Well, this has been amazing. It feels like we just scratched the surface of what Peck has to offer
Totally.
in The Road Less Traveled.
Me too. But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
There's always more to discover,
Yeah.
more to learn,
Right.
more to explore.
So for those of you who are intrigued,
Yeah.
we highly recommend picking up a copy of The Road Less Traveled.
It's a great book.
It's a book that can change your life.
It can.
And as always, keep seeking, keep exploring, keep diving deep.
Until next time.
You know, it really feels like Peck gives you this whole new way of thinking about your place in the world.
Yeah, he definitely pushes us to think bigger,
Yeah.
to consider like the spiritual side of things.
Right.
But he does it in a way that feels really grounded and practical.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're not someone who's like super spiritual,
All right.
you can still get a lot out of it.
You mentioned that Peck sees mental health and spiritual growth as like connected.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk more about that?
Yeah.
Like, what does he even mean by spiritual growth?
Yeah, it's a good question.
How does that tie into therapy?
Right. He's not talking about organized religion or anything like that.
Oh,
It's more about recognizing that there's a part of us
Okay.
that goes beyond just the material world,
Okay.
the rational mind.
Right. Right.
He believes that facing our inner demons, like
Yeah.
really confronting those parts of ourselves that we try to hide,
Yeah.
is actually essential for both our mental and spiritual well-being.
So it's like those shadow parts of us are actually keeping us from being whole.
Exactly. They're holding us back from experiencing a more complete sense of ourselves,
Okay.
both psychologically and spiritually.
And he says that this process of self-discovery,
Yeah.
of bringing those shadow parts to light,
Yes.
can actually help us connect with something bigger
Absolutely.
than ourselves.
It's about tapping into a source of wisdom
Okay.
and strength that's like beyond our individual ego.
So true healing then
Yeah.
involves more than just addressing the surface stuff.
Exactly. It's about going deeper, exploring those big questions about who we are and why we're here.
Right.
And he shares some really incredible stories in the book
Yeah.
about his patients
Right.
who had these like profound spiritual awakenings through therapy.
Wow.
And these aren't just like feel-good stories either.
Right.
They really show how facing your deep-seated fears and traumas
Yeah.
can open you up to a whole new level of understanding and
Yeah.
connection.
So therapy can be like a catalyst,
It can.
not just for healing,
Uh-huh.
but for spiritual awakening.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing to think about
Yes.
that confronting those painful points of ourselves
Yeah.
can actually lead us to a deeper sense of meaning and purpose.
He also talks about grace.
Yes.
I found that really interesting.
It's a powerful concept.
Can you explain a little bit about how he defines grace?
Yeah. He describes it as this force
Okay.
that's beyond our understanding,
Yeah.
something that comes into our lives in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
And brings about these like miraculous transformations.
But like when everything just falls into place,
Yes, exactly.
even though you didn't plan it.
You didn't try to make it happen.
Right.
It just kind of happens.
Okay, so it's not something you can control,
No, not at all.
but you can be open to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
He sees grace as evidence of a higher power,
Okay.
like a force that's always guiding us towards wholeness,
Even when we don't know it.
even when we're not aware of it. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of what he's saying is about surrender.
It is, yeah.
Like letting go of control.
Yeah.
Trusting that there's a greater wisdom at work.
Absolutely. He challenges us to embrace the mystery of life.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that we don't have all the answers.
Right, right.
And it's in that space of surrender, of humility,
Yeah.
that we can really open ourselves up to experiencing grace.
And transformation.
And transformation, exactly.
It's a beautiful message.
It is.
You know, it gives you hope.
Yeah.
Especially when things are tough.
It reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles,
Right.
that there's something bigger than ourselves that's looking out for us.
Even when we can't see it.
Even when we can't see it, yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the road less traveled,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for Peck's work, you know.
Me too.
He really gives us a roadmap,
He does.
not just for the challenges of life,
Mm-hmm.
but also for the beauty of it all.
The mystery of it all.
Yeah, the mystery of it all.
It's a beautiful book.
And for anyone listening
Yeah.
who wants to explore these ideas more,
Absolutely.
pick up a copy of The Road Less Traveled.
It's a good one.
It can change your life,
It might.
or at least how you look at it.
At least that.
And as always,
Yeah.
keep seeking, keep exploring, keep diving deep.
Well, next time.